Welcome back to the VINwiki appraisal panel. We're alongside John Ficarra of Ficarra Classic and John Tamarian from Curated. Today we are going to decide how much we think Doug DeMuro's car collection is worth. And Doug has made a tremendous amount of news lately because they just closed a $37 million investment in Cars and Bids and the Doug DeMuro YouTube channel from the Chernin Group, or TCG. So Doug's been talking a lot about that. You've seen him in the news. And today we're going to talk about some of the cars that he has sold on Cars and Bids and what he bought to celebrate. So gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for being with us.
Great to be here, Ed.
Great to be here, Ed. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So we just saw Doug sell two of his cars. We've got two less to guess what they might be worth. He just sold his RS2 and his Defender, $92,000 on Cars and Bids for the RS2 and $59,500 for the new Defender. He still has the 97. But Cars and Bids and all these other auction platforms are the perfect way for us to talk about our sponsor today, which is Caramel. When you're doing a private party car transaction, which is what most of these auction transactions are, Caramel makes it much safer, much faster, and much smoother than you could ever imagine. They handle all the paperwork for the transaction as well as your DMV, no matter what state you're in. They verify both parties' identities, they safely connect to each side's bank account, and they make the transaction a breeze. So check them out now at drivecaramel.com or at the link in the description below. But as we talked about, Doug celebrated the recent investment in his company with the purchase of a new car, a 2005 Porsche Carrera GT. I know, John, you've sold a whole lot of them. We've all seen them. We all love the Carrera GT. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Carrera GT fan amongst some of the other things that you might buy. But his car he talked about really wanting a yellow one, but not wanting to pay the paint to sample premium, which I can certainly understand. But I think his silver over ascot car is worth about 1.1 today with the 10,000 mile threshold that he just crossed.
I think you're a little light, Ed. My opinion is a car like this, it's an '05. The color's great. It's not the most rare color. I think of the 600 Carrera GTs that came to the US, almost half were finished in the silver. But it's still an amazing car. I think the market is leveled off a lot. They went really crazy for a little bit, and I think it's plateaued, and it's in a sort of a happy space where there's plenty of buyers for the cars that are selling. I'm going to put it at $1.35 million today.
I think you're right, John. It has kind of leveled off. Things got crazy with it. People, that generation grew up and they're like, holy mackerel, I want myself a Carrera GT. And Doug was one of those people who's been dreaming about it for years. But I think you got a fine example. I like the Ascot interior. I've never been a huge fan of its styling, but if you have to buy a leftover Le Mans car, that's the one to get for a street car. And that V10 is scrumptious. So I agree with you. I put it at 1.3 million.
And I absolutely love the video that he made talking about his kind of lifelong pursuit all the way back to the chasing exotics, car spotting days. Just an amazing thing and an amazing accomplishment for Doug. We're so happy for him. Now, the first time he told us that he was really buying his dream car was with his 2005 Ford GT. It's a midnight blue metallic car, all four options, which means the upgraded wheels, painted calipers, stripes, and the Macintosh stereo. He very publicly passed 40,000 miles in it just recently, although he bought it with about 31,000 miles. I think he said in one of his videos that he paid $225. Today, I think that car is worth about 100 more at $325, primarily due to the miles.
I agree with you, Ed. I'm going to go a little bit less than you. I'm going to actually say 300,000 because of the miles. That being said, I don't think if you drove it another 20,000 miles, I think it's probably still worth 300,000. I don't think it's going to go down too much more. Those high mileage Ford GTs seem to sell very well. And I think there's a ton more low mileage cars available at any given point.
There are a lot of those low mileage versions that pop up, and they're going for over 400. I think these cars still have a lot of upside. I really like them. I love driving them. I think they're a great everyday supercar. I think he bought it right, and I think it's worth about $350 today.
He loves the G-Wagon, and I know a lot of us do. He has a 99 G500 Cabriolet, obviously one of the coolest versions of the G-Wagon. I think it's super cool, and I think today it's worth about $175,000.
We are on the same, we have the same number in mind. Those cars are just so awesome. They're collectible, they're fun, they're practical. You could throw your family in the back. I'm in love with them. I'm going to say $175,000.
Are we all talking about the same car? This convertible 2-door G500. If I wanted to drop that kind of money on a Suzuki Sidekick, I'd buy, a few dozen Suzuki Sidekicks. I don't get it. I don't get that thing at all. I'm not a big fan of G-Wagons to begin with. I think they're overpriced even when they're $30,000. Yeah, there might be somebody out there to buy this thing. And I watched Doug's video. I'm not even sure he knows why he bought that thing because he tears it apart as well for being just butt ugly. It's small. It's impractical. It's just, I don't get it. So I put it at 150 because I couldn't even swallow spending 175 on that.
I can't really argue with you there, John. His other European open-top SUV would be my personal favorite, his yellow 1997 soft-top Defender 90. I love the NAS, the North American spec cars. I certainly love the 110 even more, but that's even more rare. He said in a video that he paid 75 grand for this thing today. It's worth clearly more than that. I said 90, and it's probably a soft 90 there.
I agree. I'm going to put it at 85,000. I think yellow is an incredible color. I love the North American spec 90s. I actually like it better than the 110. I just think it looks more compact. But these things sell all day long at Bring a Trailer, all the different auctions online. I think they're sort of like money in the bank.
Yeah, I don't think they're that much money in the bank. I mean, they are an incredibly rudimentary vehicle. I love them. And they're great off-road. They are tremendous vehicles. They have an insane history. But I think he bought it. He said he bought it for 75. I had it down for 77. I think that's kind of what it's worth. I think you can find them for that price. There are ones that go for a lot more. You have to have a certain type of personality to daily drive a Defender 90. That's for sure.
And he certainly has that quirky personality. He also has a fairly new car, a 2022 E450 all-terrain. We see all these companies making off-roady versions of cars that don't belong there. The new Huracan Serrata, the Dakar 911s, amazing stuff. I would never expect it out of an E-Class wagon, but hey, why not? I think his is worth about 75 grand.
I know nothing about this market or these cars. I'm just going to agree with you, Ed, to agree with you. 75,000.
If you want to pick another brand's version of it, like the Audi Allroad, or even the Volvo version of it, like the kind of semi-jacked up station wagon, none of them are good cars. Like Mercedes, I don't know what their thought process is. Like, we can make a much better bad car than our competitors. So I don't get it either. You're either going to get an SUV or a station wagon. Something in between always fails. I put it for $70,000.
He also has a 2013 Toyota Land Cruiser. Indestructible car, something that'll last forever. Great for the family, great for the beach. Super cool to see. I was looking him up, to be quite honest. I wasn't as familiar with the market. It seems like this thing's worth about 40 grand. I honestly expected him to be quite more than that, but who knows? I'm sure it'll be worth that or a little more for quite some time.
I think this all depends on the miles. It's funny, Ed, I had to look them up as well, and I saw a few low mileage cars break like big numbers, 50, 60, 70,000, which coming from the supercar world, it doesn't always make sense to me when these SUVs or, classic SUVs start bringing big dollars, but I get it. They're practical and they have some sort of cachet. I have to agree with you on this one. I'm going to say probably like 45,000.
Yeah, it's an SUV that you could drive around the planet, and they just hold their value because of that. And people dig them. They're good for towing. They're good for hauling the family around. They're just a really good vehicle. So I put it at 40 grand because you can find them all day long for that and probably sell them all day long for that.
There you go. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for the input. The other day, I had somebody sitting in this very chair who alerted me to the value of another automotive possession that Doug DeMuro has, and that is his collection of low-digit license plates. Now, many of us have seen it on the garage wall behind the cars in some of his videos that he has a collection of well over 100 low-digit license plates, some of which could be re-registered, some are just duplicates, whatever, but apparently they've got tremendous value, and he told me they were worth $100,000 or $150,000 collectively. I don't understand that enthusiasm. This was coming from a guy who had decided to marry an 85-year-old man in order to get his low-digit license plate, so perhaps he was not exactly the most, impartial source, but, why not? Let's say he's got a $150,000 garage wall.
Wow. Wow.
Those old plates are worth a lot. There's a big collector's market for those, and I can totally believe that you could have a collection that's worth $100,000 quite easily.
Well, there we are. So, assuming, as any car guy would, this $150,000 that he just pulled out via Cars and Bids for the RS2 and the newer Defender is going to go back into more cars. Be sure to let us know in the comments and let Doug know what you think he should buy next. But when I add all of that up, I am just over $2 million, $2.1 million for the Doug DeMuro car collection.
I'm going to be just over your number, Ed. I'm in just under $2.2 million.
And I came in at 2.25. So we're all pretty close.
There we go. Now, when I told Doug that we were going to be appraising his collection, he wanted me to send him a copy of it so that he could give us his feedback, and this is what he sent.
This was such an interesting video to watch, watching this esteemed group of automotive experts valuing my cars. I figured, since I'm part of this world also with Cars and Bids, that I would weigh in with my own thoughts, and they are actually pretty similar to yours. You guys are experts and you know what you're talking about, and that is very clear at this video. The Carrera GT, you got exactly right. All you are right in the ballpark of what I just paid for this car. The Ford GT, again, you guys nailed it. Exactly what I think that it's worth now based on comps. Not too many comps with this level of miles, which actually makes it a pretty difficult car to value, but your valuations are pretty much exactly in line with mine. The yellow Land Rover Defender, same deal. I actually paid only $63,000 for the yellow one. It was $75,000 for my newer green one that I just sold, and I think it's worth pretty much exactly what you said. Same deal with my Mercedes station wagon, my Toyota Land Cruiser, my two kind of daily driver cars. You guys nailed all of them except the Mercedes G-Wagon Cabriolet. If you can find me a G500 Cabriolet for $150,000, please let me know where it is. I will buy it today. Right now, this instant, I am not exaggerating at all. Power top G500 Cabriolet, I will buy. I was offered $225,000 for mine by a wholesaler within the last 90 days. I think mine's a $225,000 to $250,000 car. The other thing that is a little surprising is the license plates. These aren't valuable. These low-numbered special license plates are only valuable if you can register them to a car. When you hear about people in Delaware or Illinois or Dubai paying big money for low numbers, it's so they can use them on their vehicle. Just using them for decoration is not much value. A lot of these were given to me for free. A lot of them came from eBay. Some of the US Senator ones might be worth $100 or $200, but I think this whole wall is maybe worth $3,000, not $100,000, Ed. So maybe stick to valuing cars, which you did pretty damn well.
So thank you, Doug. Congrats on an absolutely amazing collection and an amazing addition to our lives and all the content that you've produced and the platform you've made in Cars and Bids. We'll be back soon with another VINwiki appraisal panel, but do be sure to check out Caramel, our sponsor for today's video, at the link in the description below. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Ed, and congratulations to Doug on building an incredible business and an incredible collection.
Thanks, Ed, and congratulations, Doug, and thanks for being an everyday car guy on your Everyday Car Guy channel. It's a warm welcome.